Today on Cooking with Tammy, it's going to be all about the nostalgia. I'm going to show you how to make an old school classic spaghetti recipe. With that being said, let's get to cooking. For this recipe, I'm going to be using a leaner cut of ground beef, so I'm going to add some oil to help with the frying process. However, if you're using regular ground beef, do not add any oil to the pan. All right, we're going to start off with adding our ground beef. We're going to break it down. Since this is a large size skillet, now will be the perfect time to add our andouille sausages. For this recipe, I'm going to be using chicken andouille. However, if you want to use the pork andouille, you definitely can. Any type of sausage will work perfectly for this recipe. It's nothing better than having a large size skillet, so that way you could do two things at one time. Rather than having to brown the meat, remove the meat from the pan, and then have to add the sausages later. Let's incorporate the ground beef with the sausage. This smells so good. Woo! This is really good. It's just something about sausage. Oh my goodness, man. And it all depends on, like I said, the brand that you choose, and it also depends on what type of meat that you use. It's time for us to add our onions. Let's get as much or as little onions into the pan. Everybody has their preference. Some people love onions, and there's other people out there who don't like onions. But for that, I will say, right, if you're not a fan of onions, get yourself some shallots, or maybe try Vidalia onions because they're sweeter, and you may like it a lot better. Pan is a little dry. Like I said, I'm using a lean cut, so I'm just going to add a little oil to help the situation out. Going to add some bell peppers. For this recipe, I'm using green bell peppers. However, if you have, let's say, maybe you're trying to clean out the pantry or the refrigerator and you have a red or yellow or even an orange bell pepper, add that to the mix as well. And let's make it happen, okay? We're gonna cook our veggies down until they sweat out just a bit, until the onions are nice and translucent and the veggies are slightly softened. We don't wanna cook it too much for them to be mushy. Alrighty, let's add some finely chopped garlic. And we're going to allow the garlic to cook for about 30 seconds. All right, let's incorporate our garlic with our ground beef mixture. Today's choice of seasonings is going to be basic seasonings, but they're going to elevate our ground beef with tons of flavor. Add some garlic powder. Add a good amount of garlic powder because we have a lot of meat going on in this pan. Onion powder. And besides, the onion powder and the garlic powder is sodium free, so why not? Let's add some paprika for color and subtle flavor. We're gonna add some red chilies. These are the dried kind of chilies, and that's gonna give it a little kick of flavor. Add some beef bouillon. I'm gonna add some of my Cooking with Tammy sodium-free Cajun seasoning. All right, for a nice Cajun flair. You can get that on my website at cookingwithtammy.shop. When I tell you that Cajun seasoning, woo, from the time you open the bottle, you're like, yo, this is good stuff. And the great thing about it is it's no sodium whatsoever. Who could ask for anything better, right? Let's add some Worcestershire sauce. All right, about a tablespoon is perfect. I'm gonna go in with my tomatoes. Add those tomatoes on in. Now here's the thing, for this recipe you don't need tomatoes because we're going to be adding tomato paste. We're also going to be adding tomato sauce along with crushed tomatoes. The reason why I added the tomatoes is because I was cleaning out the refrigerator and I'm like, you know what, I got more than enough tomatoes and I need to use them up while they're still fresh. Let's add a couple tablespoons of tomato paste. We're going to allow the tomato paste to cook down for about 20 seconds simply because we want to release all of those sweet natural flavors within the tomato paste. Let's add our crushed tomatoes. And our tomato sauce. And all of the remnants at the bottom, because we've added the sauce, which is a liquid, it's going to help to deglaze the bottom of the pan. All right. We're just going to fold the meat into the sauce, allow it to come to a slow simmer. In the meanwhile, we're working on boiling our pasta. For this recipe, we're going to be using spaghetti. Let's add some Italian seasoning. Get yourself a good Italian seasoning blend. This Italian seasoning blend that I'm using is homemade. When I tell you everything is in here, everything is in here. However, if you don't have basil or oregano already mixed in with your Italian blend, then add some basil separate and oregano as well. We're gonna add some brown sugar. If you have regular granulated sugar, you can use that as well. And we're just gonna stir this on in. Now here's the thing, if you don't want your pasta sauce to have a slight hint of sweetness, because this is not gonna make it too sweet, you don't have to add the sugar, because I know everybody's different. If you don't want to add the sugar, you don't have to add the sugar. Last but not least, we're going to add some bay leaves. Next step, we're going to cover it down. First of all, before we even get there, we're going to lower the flame to low medium, cover it down with a cover, of course, and allow it to simmer for about, I thought this was going to fall, for about 35 to 45 minutes, right? You want that sauce, you want all of the flavors. When I tell you this, the longer you cook it is the better. Just trust me on this one. Don't rush the process. I know it smells absolutely inviting, but we're not going to rush the process. 35 to 45 minutes. In the meanwhile, work on boiling your pasta. Our water is boiling and we have 20 minutes left on our meat sauce. All right, so we're going to time this perfectly. I'm going to be cooking this particular pasta for about 18 minutes until it's al dente. However, refer to the back of the box for the specific pasta that you're going to be making, and allow it to cook. I went ahead and added some salt to the water already. So make sure you add not only salt to the water, but reserve some of your pasta water as well for later. Time for the big reveal. Our pasta sauce is done. Check out how rich and hearty this looks. Wow. Remember when we first started, the pasta sauce was bright red, and now it's like the color definitely darkened. Let's go ahead and add our spaghetti to the mix. Gonna swap this spatula, get this out of here for a second, bring in the tongs, and we are gonna take our time and incorporate the sauce with the pasta. Ooh, I wish you could be here to smell the aroma. It smells so good. It's gonna be saucy because the ratio of pasta sauce is way more than the amount of pasta that we added. So that's gonna be a good thing. All right, we don't want a dry, meaty spaghetti. That would be too boring. When you come across those bay leaves, because it's hard to chew. Basically, they're unchewable, if you will, right? Unless you have like some really, really strong chompers. Remove the bay leaves before serving. Check this out. This is gorgeous. Look at this. Wow, saucy and meaty and beautiful. We're only gonna have to add 2 more things. And the first thing is chopped parsley, quick zest, the Parmesan cheese, and that's it. It's time to eat. The cheese is going to melt perfectly into the sauce simply because the sauce is still extremely hot. Time for our quick taste test. Saucy goodness. As much as I want to get in there and just eat, I know better. I'm going to take my time and blow and cool it down. This is good. Again, this is nostalgia all over again. It's absolutely delicious, super saucy. Give this old school spaghetti recipe a try. It's going to be well worth it, and let me know what you think in the comment section. Of course, full recipe details is going to be in the description bar. Don't forget to get your seasonings at cookingwithtammy.shop. Also, check out my other website, royaltyprincessgems.com, of course. And I catch you guys later. I got some eating to do. Let me know how everything turns out. Talk to you later. Bye, guys.